Basically, my topic of the day is about insects coexistence with humans. Okay. Now, normally when I start lectures on insects, I ask participants to make a list of insects they know that are found in their surroundings. Okay, so even in our houses, we have a lot of insects, including mosquitoes, different species of mosquitoes, flies, and many beetles that stay in our pulses, cereals, and then we have insects in our cupboards. Okay, and we get to see a lot of insects everywhere. That's what I thought of putting up this slide in front of you. First slide. At least in our houses, even in cities like Mumbai, we get around 15-20 species of insects. So you can imagine if you go outside into the forest, forget forest, if you go to your garden as well in your complex or a municipality garden, you will see much more species. So when you go outside in the forest, n number of insects you can encounter. Before talking about coexistence, let us see what insect is. So what insect is? Okay, basically insect means is an organism which can be cut into sections or into the pieces. So that is possibly the anglicized word, and the study of insect is called as entomology, that everyone knows. So basically, insects are a group of animals, obviously, which have well-developed nervous system, well-developed senses, well-developed sensory organs, and animals are free for movement. They can go anywhere. And animals are heterotrophic. There's a slight spelling mistake here. Please ignore that. Heterotrophic means the animals cannot prepare their own food in their body. So you have to depend on other organisms or other plants or other creatures for food. Okay. Insects are part of a group of animals called as metazoa. That means animals with multi-cell. I mean, thousands and trillions of cells. They are made up of literally countless number of cells. Even we are. Okay. Among that, there's a group called as arthropoda, which is as big as kingdom. A very large group, which is called as arthropoda because it is made up of small pieces which are joined together. Okay, so that poda means a kind of leg or appendage, so which are joined together, and hence it is called as arthropoda. Arthropoda is the biggest group of animals in entire probably animal world, I may say. That includes crabs, lobsters, centipede, millipede, spiders, scorpions, snakes, mites, and what we are interested in now is insects. So one of the class in arthropoda is class Insecta, which is the largest class, made up of roughly around probably, because no one has ever counted, but probably around 1 million species. Mind you, I'm talking about 1 million species, not individual. Okay, here is a picture in front of you, which is available, of course, on internet. So insect body is divided into head, which you can see a blue colored structure on the left side of the figure. Then three segmented thorax, which is green colored, and of course abdomen. The head will possess, as you can see in the figure, compound eyes, then antenna, of course, to smell, and mouth parts to feed on. Then thorax is the most sturdy part of the insect body, and it will have appendages for locomotion. So on the lower side, we call it biologically ventral side, there are three pairs of legs, and on the top side you will see there is a pair of a wing. Three segmented thorax, but number of wings are only two pairs, that is four pairs. So front segment doesn't have a wing pair. Then of course abdomen. Okay. Now many times spiders and other creatures, they are grouped as a insect by novices. But remember that invariably to identify creature as an insect, it will have three pairs of legs. Spiders will have four pairs. Crabs will have five pairs, and so on. Centipede will have more than 100. Millipede will have more than 100, and probably 200 species, 200 pairs of legs. Okay. So this is how overall insect looks. I'm not going to go in very detail of insect biology and structure and other stuff. Just to give you a gist of what insect is, all of you know centipede and millipede. So insect and centipede, millipede, they both had a common ancestor. long ago. So on the left, you will see a figure. Okay. So insect head is made up of 6 segments, of course, which is not visible now. It has merged into a single structure. Then 3 segmented thorax, which we saw, and 12 segmented appendages. On the top, you will see some of the photos which I used to click. Since this is not a talk on insect diversity, so I will not venture talking more into insect diversity because it will take a lot of time. And here you will see at least there are different species of insect in the photograph, and on each one, I think I can talk at least a minute, and I think you will be sleeping in 10 minutes probably. Okay, so I will not go in detail of that. Even insect biology itself is a very, very big topic. Biology, physiology, body structure, locomotion. Entomology is a very, very, niche topic because insects are very unique creatures. And just for an example, when you are free, just type insect mouth parts and I mean Google it, and you will find it variety of mouth parts. Just to give you an idea, if you have seen Predator movie long ago, the first one, 1987. In that last fight, I think that the last that creature, whoever it is, he removes his head gear, and you will see that there are some mouth parts moving like that. So that has been inspired from insect. Insect in close up, especially head. Insect head in close up looks like almost like extraterrestrial, and yet they are terrestrial here. Amazing group of insects. Where are they found? So they are found everywhere. So we know that in our houses we get different species of insects. Normally, I said I do this exercise in common lectures like this. So there are like 3-4 species of mosquitoes, at least 2-3 species of flies. Sometimes you get bed bugs very occasionally, head louse. Okay. Sometimes you get right now in Mumbai we are experiencing insects coming on our tube lights because of extended monsoon. Sometimes you get butterfly in your house. Right now we are getting one species. So there are at least 10, 15, not less species you will get living with humans in cities. So if you go to houses in the tribals or villages, you will get I mean hundred species living with humans. When you go out in forest, absolutely you turn a leaf, absolutely you turn a stone, scratch a bark, see into the flower, cut a fruit, you'll get insect. Okay, so they are present almost like everywhere. They are present right from on the left. You will see I have given a kind of altitudinal zones. So right from the sea level, right now where we are in Mumbai, you'll get insect till almost like 6,000 meters, 7,000 meters at an that altitude you'll get insect. But remember, they are not the same species. The species you get in Mumbai will not be able to survive at that altitude because of different climatic conditions. But they are there. Okay, especially I mean the number of species that living in near snow line will be less, but they are quite adapted to live there. So if you get those species in Mumbai, they will die within an hour because they are not survive. They are not adapted to survive in humid conditions, hot conditions. Okay, it is like the same way relatives, your relatives from villages come here and they feel Mumbai like, oh, it's so hot and not good to survive, something like that. As a matter of fact, they are present everywhere. On I think Antarctic, it is almost like permanent snow cap. So there are some rocky shores where the snow melts in summer, and there are some small ephemeral flowers or the herbaceous plants they grow, and in that 2-3 months of small summer time, scientists could count 200 to 50 species of insect. Okay, they survive there, but the thing is they survive only in that period of time. So only for 2 or 3 months they will be there, and after that they will vanish. They will breed, they will lay egg, either they will pupate, make a pupa, and they will go into hibernation, winter sleep, which can be as long as 6-7 months. And on the right you will see there are some photos, representative photos of habitats which are given. So obviously you will get very high number of species of insect in forest. You will get them in grasslands. You will get them in mangroves around Mumbai, along coastline everywhere, India, world, everywhere. You will get them in conifers. You will get them in near lakes. You will get them in riverine forest, riparian forest, everywhere. Some species are distributed throughout. Some species are habitat specific, but they are there. Okay, so please remember that they are present everywhere. So no matter you spray insecticide, you use mosquito net. No matter you use mosquito net on the windows, just they are waiting that window to open and they'll be inside. Now, each and every ecosystem is made up of food chain. So, of course, on the left, you will see producers, which are plants. None of the animals can do that. So, in a food chain, there are different levels. So, there are herbivores, there are carnivores, and there are super carnivores. Carnivores, two, which I have written. So, insects are present in at each and every level. So, since you are talking of insect, like if you talk of general food chain, you can talk like something like plant, then deer, then jackal, and at the end you can keep tiger or a leopard or something like that. But we are talking of insects, so they are present everywhere. So there are herbivorous insect, there are carnivorous insect, there are super carnivorous insect. Mind you, there is an insect called as tiger beetle, so which likes to hunt like a tiger. It runs behind a prey and it runs fast and it eats other creature. It has very, very long mandibles. There are some insects which are omnivores, like humans. They eat everything, like cockroach. Then there are insects which feed in decaying matter. Then you just remember they are present everywhere in every food chain, in every ecosystem. But any given ecosystem is not made up of single food chain, but it is made up of multiple food chains linked together. Insects are present there as an integral part of any food web. Okay, this is just a representative food web. Okay, I'm not you can complicate it more by adding more and more examples. Okay, so there are birds which eat insects, there are spider lizards which eat insects, there are rodents which feed on insect, there are mammals which feed on those, there are trees which feed on insect. So insects are there as an integral part. Just we are talking of human insect coexistence. I want you to think that where you will put humans in this food web is very difficult to put, because we eat veg, we eat non-veg. In occasional cases, there have been reports of cannibalism. So really sometimes we wonder that humans are terrestrial or extraterrestrial. Anyway, so insects are present everywhere in every food chain. Each and every creature in any given ecosystem is assigned a job that is called as a niche, and that job is called as ecosystem service. So it is the job of insect in front of you. It is just a representation. You can diversify it. You can add more and more examples into it, or you can club them and make a common simple example. So just skipping, going fast through those. So first job insects do is very, very important for plants, important for insect, and important for us. That is pollination. Everyone knows. Then there are leaf eater insect which feed on leaf. All of us know butterfly caterpillar. So we think that insects are actually eating leaves and reducing number, but in other way, they are increasing, or rather, they are making plant to produce more and more leaves. Okay. The thing is, when insect eats leaves, insects are not very good. They don't move too much like mammals and birds. So where do they eat? They will defecate there. So their poop will drop down in the same, in the base of the tree, and it is very rich in nitrogen. So by one hand they are damaging tree, by other hand they are giving food or nutrition to the tree. Some of them they eat fruit. I don't know whether you have experienced, but I experienced few times earlier, few times before. There is a totapuri mango. I cut that, and from inside I could see there was a weevil which came out of it long ago. Okay, so it is really wondering, because from outside I couldn't see anything, but when I opened it, there was a live, very much alive, healthy weevil which came out of the mango. Okay, and there are fruit eating insects. Okay, then insects do nutrient recycling, just what I do. Okay, also all of you know there's a dung beetle which converts decaying matter into soil, and which helps uh, plants to reabsorb that. So nutrient recycling is a very important job done by insect. They clean the environment by eating dead organisms. At your home, probably if you leave any food just here and there, immediately ants will come, flies will come. It is not their problem, it is your problem that you have put them here. Okay, so you are inviting those insects there. They parasitize the other insects, which can create trouble to your crops. They propagate pathogens. Now this is something interesting. When we get, just 2 months ago I got bitten by mosquito and I got chikungunya. Now many people wonder why these things are existing. There's a school of thought which thinks that there's a parallel world of pathogens, or the this bacteria and viruses, and they are using insects for their survival. We humans have created environment for those insects to bite us, and so we are getting infected. But anyway, they do this. So they feed on smaller organisms to keep a check on their population. Then another important thing is they are food for other creatures, including humans. Okay, so these are the basic ecosystem services which I have listed down here. There can be many. Okay, now if you consider Earth's history, insects are here for very 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 long time. Okay, almost like 400 million years insects are here. So in Indian terminology it is something like 40 crore saal. Okay, so just I've given comparison here. We humans are like, just like infant, not even a year old, and compare the knowledge, wisdom, adaptation of a young, the infant, with that of 60-year-old grandfather. So that's how insects have uh, gathered that is wisdom by living for so much period of time on this planet. Insects have gone through multiple phases of evolution. There were insects of dragonflies of this size, cockroaches of this size, but now their numbers have, their sizes have reduced quite a lot. That's why you see insects everywhere. Okay, and that's how insects are. Of course, they are evolving like us. But why insects are successful? First, I told you the time for which they are present on the planet. Their DNA is not as heavy, as complicated as humans. So they undergo very easy mutations. So 50, 60, 70 years ago, when DDT was evolved, insects used to run away from those powder. Now, if you put that powder, the ant will walk through that DDT powder, because their physiology, their DNA, I should say, their DNA has made their physiology such that they can overcome the toxicity of those chemicals. Okay, now coming back to human coexistence, this easy mutation is causing so-called trouble to humans, because this is a big time business for pesticide, insecticide companies. So every now and then insects are evolving to the to nullify the pesticide we design in our lab. So every 5 years, every 10 years, you have to find a new molecule which can be dangerous, or kind of killer to the insects. That's how they are successful. Okay, they have very effective and versatile life systems because of their simple DNA and simple requirements in the life. Okay, they are extremely adaptive. They can adapt themselves anywhere, because they can go mutation very fast, and they have life systems or survival associated with other creatures. Okay, like they are parasites, they feed on other insects, they feed on plants, they feed on mammals, they are found on birds. So that's how just like for an example, butterfly, the caterpillar feeding niche is it has mandible, so it will bite leaves or chew leaves. But adult butterfly doesn't have mandible, so it is going to feed only on this liquid. So it is going to feed on nectar. So young one is feeding on different, adult is feeding on different. So that's how they can survive better. What I want to say here, coming back to our topic, since humans have evolved, rather I should say, since humans are evolving, in the process of evolution, humans must have seen insects throughout their evolutionary journey. And when our ancestors were still not on trees, still have not become bipedal, they must have been including insects in their diet. Nowadays also there are plenty of tribals, plenty of, all of southeastern countries, they feed on insects. Even in Africa, even tribes in this Brazil and Amazons, even in India. So they feed on insects. So no wonder that our ancestors must have fed on insects. But as human evolution progressed, we became bipedal. We started uh, developing tools. and at some point of time, this so-called religion came in, and all of you know religion is like teaching good virtue to the people. So no wonder that animals, their behavior, their structure, their associativeness with other creatures was taken as an example in our religion. Most of the religions have uh, animal examples, and no wonder insects are also there in the religion. I'm not expert on this particular topic, so I will skip fast through the examples which are there in religions. So in Hinduism, there are three examples I could find. Of course, there are multiple. So there's a goddess Kali, which is associated with bees, and there is a Kamadev or god Kama, god of love. He has bee sting on his arrow, and there's a devi or a goddess called Brahmari, okay, which is a goddess of black bees. So probably it is related to bumblebee or a carpenter bee which we have. So when these religions are getting evolved, so these kind of examples were introduced, or I may say these kind of examples were given as a good virtue, how to behave, how not to behave, and something of the sort. There are some research paper you will find about insect references in Hindu culture. Will not go in very detail because of course you can the thing about old scriptures, old literature is we used to write in code language, not like scientific dry language which westerners use. So possibly you can take out two inferences out of it. But of course, if you are good in your thorough in your research, you can come out. But anyway, so there is an ant given different names, as you can see here: Gaja, Maka, Upajhirka, etc. Then there are bees. Okay. Then there's a beetle. Then there's a cochineal insect. It is like a sucking bug, which is a which troubles plant, but incidentally it is associated with the god of rain. Okay, Indra. And lastly, we have silkworm, Raksha Bandhan. All of you know that we tie this silk thread so that to avoid the evils from our, I think apart from insect, there is a tradition of tying, I think, elephant hair to your somewhere. Okay. Anyway, so there are insect references in Hinduism, but there are few references in other cultures as well. So Prince Gautama once was riding on a horse. He saw that while riding, his horse is trampling a lot of grasses and plants and whatever. Along with that, young insects, their houses and their eggs, they are also getting killed. So that filled him with sorrow, and some say that it is one of the starting point for Buddhism. Then in Jainism, everyone we are aware of ahimsa. Okay, one of the six great vows they take, and all of you must have seen Jain monks cover their mouth and also use broom to clear the path on which they are walking, so as not to kill insect. Then in Sikhism also there are few references. So this one says that one from Guru Granth Sahib says that, "O Lord, you are kind and compassionate. You give your gifts to even worms and insects among the rocks." So what it says is, in nutshell is, there's a life in smaller organisms and of course insects. And of course in Islam, interestingly, there are a lot of references in Quran and other quotes. They are there. So they have Quran says, and of course there are different quotes, but it concentrates on bees because bees have fascinated humans, because bee is a colonial insect. They organize their colony fantastically without talking to each one, just talking chemically, just sending chemicals, and nonetheless, there is of course revered by all cultures as a medicine and other stuff. Ants are also being mentioned in Islam, and even the troublesome insects like mosquitoes, lice, locusts, fly swarms, they are also there in their earlier texts. Probably, I don't know whether this photo is perfect on the top left, but there is a one carving found on bison bone in southern France, and it is supposedly the oldest carving of an insect, possibly 14,000 years old, possibly. Okay, but I haven't come across why it was there, so probably few more researchers will shed some light on it. Japanese people, samurai culture is there, and these stag beetles are very much revered by them. And incidentally, coming back to modern days, stag beetles are one of the insects which are illegally taken out of not only in India but their country of origin, and many of them they'll end up in Japan because they keep those insects in their houses, garden, whatever. And all of you know there's a show somewhere in Malaysia, Thailand, I don't know. There's a fight of these beetles. You have to pay and go and see who wins. Actually, those fights are real territorial fights, sometimes for breeding rights. But anyway, they are there. In America, you will see there are different beliefs. I'm quoting two of them. So Cherokee tribes, they saw this diving beetle. It is incidentally a beetle which spends its life in water, but it's not a fish, so it has to come to water surface to take in the air. So when it comes to water surface, it's a pretty big beetle. So Cherokee people thought that it is one of the symbols of a land coming out of water. So probably they knew that there was glaciation, there was land, there was a period when land was covered in water, so something of the sort. And then in Mayan culture, I saw two references: the yellow swallowtail butterfly. Of course, I can't pronounce that, but here you'll see it is a goddess of love, beauty, and flower. And there is a moth, which is a symbol of goddess of war and sacrifice. Incidentally, in Bible, I think there are somewhere around 9,800 versions of those Bible. Whatever meager referencing I did on internet, I did not came across any good references. I mean, citing good thing about insects. There are a lot of examples, carvings in Egyptian, mummies and pyramids and everywhere. Now you will find that Hinduism and Egyptian culture probably the oldest, probably. That's why we get a lot of references in here. Dung beetle is very much there in Egypt, as here you'll see in the left picture. In the middle picture, you will see there's a mantis, praying mantis, a locust-like insect which is carved in, I think, ivory. Okay, and on the right side, you will see there's a symbol or a drawing of click beetle. Incidentally, this is the beetle on which I did my PhD, and some research is going on. Of course, not from Egypt, from Maharashtra. So here you will see the beetle is portrayed its upper side as well as lower side. Okay, and on the right side you will see in that picture, click beetle does exactly like this when it feels threatened. So people during those days probably knew the behavior of that beetle. Okay, but I'm not sure about this is whether click beetle or there's a similar beetle called as the jewel beetle. They are into same group, but probably it can be click beetle because the features they match. So it is there. Now click beetle is very much there in Mumbai, India, Maharashtra. It might be coming to your home. It is just to identify it as a click beetle, it is elongate structure like a seed of a sapota or a chiku. Okay, and when they fall on their back, they make clicking noise to make themselves upright. Egyptian people saw insects and they revered those insects in their culture, to make them to that level. Coming back to present day, okay, insect, as we are talking of coexistence. By the way, insect do not have any insect are not studying us as a, there is no insect giving lecture to insect as a coexistence with humans. It is we that we are studying this. So we have I could categorize those in two categories, basically harmful and useful, as simple as that. When we talk of harmful insect, in some or the other way they create trouble to us. Okay, remember, insects, they don't do it deliberate. It is because of our requirement. We are okay. Before I mean going into deep into that, so in indirect damage, okay, So on the left I have drawn sorry, I put a picture of harvested seeds. So what I wanted to talk here is about the insects found in stored grain. So at your home where there are cereals, pulses, or maybe rice, um, gehu, anywhere in that container, sometimes you'll get beetles into that. You know, there are at least 4 or 5 species you'll get in Mumbai, but there are hundreds of them. And it is quite interesting to know that how these insects survive in darkness. Because you close the container, you close that dabba. It may be steel, it may be Tupperware, whatever it is. We try to make it airtight, but still insects survive in that. Less oxygen, we call it a hypoxic condition. Absolutely no light. Unless you open the container, there is no chance of light going into that. Unless, of course, you are having plastic container. But that too, we keep it in a cupboard. We don't keep it open. So maybe very little light or no light. They are surviving. They are breeding. Okay. This is the beauty of insects, how they have evolved. Now these kind of insects which come to stay in our cereals and pulses, they have evolved. Our ancestor like Neanderthal man did not have habit of keeping rice. Okay, so obviously during as we evolved, as agriculture evolved, as farming evolved, these insects also evolved and came to our kitchens, came to our storehouses, and they evolved to stay there. Again I'm saying we created habitat for them. If there is no habitat, they will not come. Okay. Then there are a lot of insects which trouble forest trees. Now here I have put example of forest. Absolutely n number of species which damage plant. But here for humans, I am talking about the forest tree, where the useful plant like teak, mahogany, and rubber, etc., they are cultured for our benefit. So for that also insects are there. So they will come, they will feed, they will damage plants. Okay. So again there are more than 100 species of them. Then all of us know about the insect pest which damage crops. I will not go in detail of that, but some of the I mean they damage each and every crop you think of. Okay. And that's why we have come up with genetically modified crops like bt cotton. Okay. And still I'm sure that after few years, few generation, insects will overcome that. And again humans, if we survive, we have to devise a new plan. Okay. So this is indirect. Now when we come to direct, we are talking of, everyone knows what it is, this one. But before that I'll just talk on insects. Almost each and insect and plant, almost each and every part of plant is consumed. There are insects which feed on pollens. We call them as pollinivores. There are insects which feed on fungi or mushrooms. They are called as musivores or musivores. Okay. Then there are insects which feed on grains. I've given example of photo of rice we will here. Okay. Then there are insects which bore into a healthy plant. Okay. Now a big plant, imagine mango tree, which is very hard. Okay, you are required to really drill into it. But there are insects. A female will make single, hole into the outer bark. She will lay egg, and there are larvae which will go into the hardwood. Okay, make galleries into it, and your plant will be skeletonized. Okay. So imagine insects have evolved enzymes to digest that hardwood. It is called lignin. Okay. Just a little bit of diversion. Termites cannot digest cellulose by their own. So during course of evolution, they have allowed single-celled organisms to go into their stomach. Okay, they are called protozoans. So they digest cellulose. If you remove protozoans from termite gut, termite will not be able to digest cellulose. Okay, so same thing might be happening with the other insects which damage our plants. Then there are root feeders who actually bore into roots, and the plant will wither down after some time. Then there are algivores which feed on algae. Then there are nectarivores which feed on sweet nectar. Then there are frugivores which feed on fruits, and there are folivores which feed on leaves. So the red ones which I have mentioned, they are harmful to us indirectly. There's a separate topic, a very very big topic on insect plant interaction, quite interesting. But anyway, so as a indirect effect on us. This is how insects are doing to us. And when we talk of direct problem, direct interaction, the parasites. Okay, all of us know. I mean, I'll not go in very detail of this. So they can suck your blood. They might be carrying parasite into their body. They might not. Each and every mosquito does not carry malaria, dengue, filaria, encephalitis. No. If that would have been case, humans would have been wiped out hundreds of years ago. Maybe 1% or 0.1% of mosquito females carry those pathogens in their body, which are transmitted to humans. Many times you get insect bite, you get irritation. So insect saliva has different proteins. Okay, you will get your body is responding by secreting antibodies, and you will get itching, swelling, inflammation, redness, anything. It depends on your own physiology. Then bedbug and head louse, everyone knows. You know, bedbug can survive without food or almost like an year. Okay, it's very quite interesting. And once if bedbugs are in your house, it's very difficult to eradicate them. Literally, you have to boil your clothes into water. You keep your clothes in sunlight, nothing will happen. They will come back somehow in your system. Okay, head louse, very dangerous. Okay, that's why, you know, of course, a different topic, but in World War, when there were concentration camps, the one of the reason to shave the head was to remove this lice. Okay, although there are body lice is there, cubic lice is also there. Okay, but you know, you can understand that. Then fly, everyone is aware about fly, which comes to your house anytime. And probably fly is more dangerous than mosquito. We don't understand it because it doesn't bite, but fly is known to transmit, can you imagine, 40 different diseases, 40. Okay, and one of the dangerous diseases, I mean, you may not call it as a disease, but if there's a open wound, the female can lay eggs in that wound, and the larvae can bore in the tissue, and they can travel to anywhere. There are reports of maggots in the brain. Okay, maggot coming out of the eyes from the nose. They can go anywhere. Everyone, be aware of flies rather than mosquitoes. Then honeybee sting, everyone knows. It is a worker bee which, if feels threatened, it will sting. So at our houses in Mumbai, I have seen a lot of bees come to our light. Many times, many of you must be killing it. Just don't do that. Just switch off the light, go to other room where you will feel safe, and open the window. The bee will go out on its own. All of you know that worldwide bee population is decreasing quite alarmingly, and bees contribute almost like 63% of pollination share among insects. So if we lose bees, we are in trouble. Within, next few seasons of cropping, we will be really in trouble. So this is how, insect can cause direct, I may not call harm, but it depends how do you take it. Okay. Now there are useful insects or beneficial insects. So first is pollination. Now pollination is a phenomenon where the pollens are carried from one flower to the other flower. It is cross pollination, marriage between two different families, like in humans. Okay, to avoid fusion of two same DNA. When you have cross pollination, number of gene increase, number of variation increase, number of rate of survival increase. Okay, so we'll not go in detail of that, but flowers and insects, they are mutually married for life, because pollination can occur by wind, but insect is like a courier, confirmed courier service, which is going to carry pollens from flower to flower. Now we plant mangoes, we plant fruit crops. Do you think that wind is going to help us in getting so much of mangoes? No, not possible. It is because of insects. Suppose if if you go to, let's say, we relish Devgad Hapus, and if you go to suppose Devgad area, and suppose there are no bees, just ask that farmer how much percent of mango production has reduced. Okay, so that is a benefit. Then next indirect benefit is nutrient recycling, which I talked about. So dung beetle is good example. Then there is no dead animal left. Immediately there are insects, beetles, which feed on it. So that is indirect. So when we talk of direct benefit to humans, Here are few examples. So food everyone knows. Okay, insects are being eaten as food everywhere. Few years ago, I went to Assam, and I was offered, of course, not prepared, but he asked me, "Hey, would you like to eat ants and their eggs?" I was a bit reluctant, so I said no. I should have tried, but I'm not sure. So they eat it. Okay, so insects are very good food because they don't have too much quantity of fats in them. Okay, now coming back to insect biology, it is very interesting to know how insects are so agile, so active, in spite of not having fat, in spite of not having a lot of glucose. They have trehalose, a variety of sugar in their body. Then another direct benefit is medicine. All of us know bees and honey, which is extracted. There's a sting therapy, there's a maggot therapy. Then there's the industry like silkworm, apiculture, honeybee culture, then lac culture. Okay, so we are using reaping benefits of that directly. And last, study of all these things. So humans are studying insect. Some of the humans are studying insect for benefit of humans. Some are studying for the benefit of ecosystem. But it's like a benefit in long run. Okay, so these are the beneficial insects. Apart from that, there are neutral insects. They are present everywhere in the forest. If you go to forest, you will encounter insect anywhere. You watch them, watch their habit, watch their habitat, watch their color, watch their size, what they do, what they eat, how they fly, how they jump, how they walk. It is really interesting. Okay, is it really annoying? No, you have to develop a habit of observing. Just like people do bird watching, you can do insect watching. Okay, are they beneficial? Indeed, yes. They, as we saw, they are part of integral part of any food chain in any ecosystem. They are there. Without insect, the ecosystem will immediately collapse. It may sustain for some time, but insects are required. So here are some of the examples. Again, I'm not going in detail of naming those. On the bottom left, you will see one of the largest moth in the world, and the bottom right, you will see firefly. Okay. Now it is quite interesting. You, as a human, you require to move turbine to generate light, but insects don't do that. They just generate light by adding some chemicals in their last segment of the body, and that too it is cold light. The firefly can lit its or your abdomen and it will not get heated. You touch your bulb here, it is hot. So that is another beauty, okay, of insects, how they have evolved their physiology. Now I told you about diversity of insects. There are approximately 1 million species of insects identified till date. There might be two times more. Out of that, only 0.1% of insect species we are aware of as harmful or beneficial. Only 0.1%. Like we have problem with termites, but in forest, termites are good nutrient recyclers. If termites are not there, the nitrogen content of forest soil will be reduced. Whatever termite share is there, that will be reduced. So it is like 1,000 species of insects to one human species. That ratio we are talking of, and we are not talking of 99.99% of insects, how they are helping us. Okay, so it is really a good really highly diverse group of insects. Now how do the insects see human? Okay, can I feed on it? Will I get food nearby? Just like you open the window, fly will come, it will get fed. Can I hitchhike? Insects can take a ride on humans. Okay, will I get mate near human habitation or near humans? Like if there are head louse, mating happens here. Okay, then can I lay eggs? Head louse can lay egg, bedbug can lay egg. Okay, fly can lay egg in the wounds. Okay, will I get nutrients? Like if you go to the forest, if you are sweating, the bees, the butterflies, the wasps, they can sit on your sweaty hand and they can drink your sweat. They are getting nitrogen from it. So that is positive thing, positive thought of insects about humans. But negative thought will be what? Will I be killed? Will I get parasitized? In nutshell, probably will I get killed? बाद में खाना है नहीं खाना, that is different thing. But will I get killed? Okay, so that's why insects have evolved very good sense mechanism. Only few percent of your attempts to spat a bee or mosquito succeed. You move your hand to the fly, it will fly when your hand is just 5-10 centimeters away from it. How do they do it? They have a lot of mechanisms, and mind you, insects do not have very good vision as we have. They have very compound vision, like in blocks, but that is compensated by antenna, which is their nose, which can smell like anything. The male moth is known to smell female pheromone something like 4-5 kilometers away. Quite interesting, correct? So that's it. But how do we see insect? Can I eat it? Can I pet it? There are a lot of people who keep insects as a pet. Can I sell it? Then can I extract some bioactive compound? There are a lot many biotechnology students who think of. I have been approached by many people. Like during COVID, I was approached by one industrialist, and he was planning to start a kind of insect. I don't know what to call uh, factory where you breed insect, kill those insects, powder them, and sell as a nutrition supplement, whatever. Okay. So can I extract some bioactive compound from that? Can I identify some medically active compound or medically active molecule from insect? Because insect physiology is quite unique. How do they fight? How do they resist DDT? Insect can resist almost like 200 times, rather I should say, they can tolerate 200 times more radiation than what we can do. So how do they do it? So can you think of a molecule which is doing that? And lastly, can I study insect? So in any case, on the left side, you will see it is for humans, not for insect. And on the right side, you will see when you see insect, will it bite? Will I get infected? Will it affect me economically? ये मेरे घर पे आके मेरे furniture damage करेगा? Will it damage my this clothes? Will it damage my wall? Okay, this is how we see insects ideally. Of course, I put them in a very broad topic. Now, this is a very serious problem. There are only few slides, then we'll stop. Okay. Uh, there's a big time problem of transporting insect accidentally or intentionally. Like on the left, you will see a cockroach called as American cockroach, a big cockroach. You'll not find this cockroach in forest. It is found in human habitation. I've been to a forest called as Namdafa. It is the easternmost part of India. From there, you can walk a day or two and you reach Myanmar. Okay, quite beautiful forest. I was staying in forest whatever establishment. There was a kitchen, and just near the kitchen, I saw this fellow. Now, this fellow was not outside forest anywhere, but it was residing near the kitchen. How did it come there? Because people carried, groceries, vegetables, and with that it came. Okay, so no quarantine was observed. Okay, so there was no awareness among people. Sometimes there's a corruption. Okay, lack of awareness among authorities is one of the prime problem. Then sometimes there's an intentional transport, like bees, European bees. Naturally they are not found in India, but they are introduced because they are small, good to culture, good for apiculture, etc. Okay, so there are a lot of examples you can give, and this is how insect gets spread. Some insect become invasive here and can cause problem. Okay, now last few slides. Do we really call this as a coexistence? There are websites which sell this stuff. Okay, now what it is sold for? Just to adore your mantelpiece, adore your wall, nothing else. And you're killing beautiful insects just that you will admire its color. Someone of your visitor relative will come and say, wow, it's a good collection. Okay, and there are people who breed this insect and sell it. Even if you Google right now, they are available. Just given a screenshot here, and you can see the prices in rupees. Just to tell you before going that Indian biodiversity law is very strong. It doesn't allow to touch any Indian wildlife, including insect. Okay, but again, lack of awareness among authorities. You are, suppose if you are killing tiger, it's a very level 1 crime. But if you are killing a butterfly called as kaisari, the authorities will not know it. Okay, because authority is not trained to understand that this is also a Schedule 1 species under Wildlife Protection Act. This is how an Indian border at many places is porous. Long ago, I knew, rather, I knew, I heard somewhere in North Bengal that the middlemen, they visit these tribal people and they say, he catch this butterfly intact, I will pay you 1,000 rupees. Okay, now for a tribal, just they know where the butterfly is, just catch it, don't damage it, that's it, and you'll get 1,000 rupees. So every day you catch one butterfly, 30,000 हो गया महीने में. Okay, now this middleman will export it somewhere outside, so it will land up in Nepal, or maybe it will come to Delhi, it will pass on to Middle East. Okay, or it will come to Kolkata, it will go to eastern part of, I mean, Southeast Asia. Okay, and this is how, if you go to forest like in Assam, Arunachal, apparently there is no physical border, it's forest, so things can move here and there. So this is actually happening, and fortunately law is very strong in India, but people are not aware of it. And of course these kind of activities are happening everywhere. Just while going, closing remarks, wherever where I stay, earlier during my college days, I used to see life cycle of butterflies happening around me. There was a fence, mesh fence or wired fence, whatever, and there were vines and climbers on that fence, which were native. So uske upar butterfly used to lay egg. There was a life cycle happening around in the heart of city I've seen. Over a period of 15 years, what has happened? Everything is cleared under the name of redevelopment. Concrete wall has come as a fence. Outside near the road, there is nothing. Inside, there is a small patch of garden. In the garden, gardener plants exotic plants which are not from India, so insects don't have to feed on them. There is nothing to feed on them. So insects don't survive there. Top of it, we spray a lot of chemicals, lot of pesticide on and off, because we are afraid of mosquitoes, which causes trouble to local, native, non harmful species. Because of these reasons and these multiple reasons, apocalypse is quite inevitable. Earlier in life of Earth, I may say, Earth has witnessed at least 5 mass extinctions where 60 to 96% of life has vanished, and that was naturally before human came. Now you will see apparently humans are causing trouble to entire ecosystem everywhere, be it a city, be it a forest. We are causing trouble, and apparently it is going to boomerang on us sooner or later. And right now you will see the effects of global warming are there. Some people say that, there's a graph. One species rises up to the top, it has to go down. So it is okay that if humans have come to the top, you can go down. But when dinosaurs died, they did not kill insects with them. When we are going to die, we are going to kill everything. I am optimistic. When everything vanishes here, there will be a period of few 100,000 million years. Everything will again, come back, and again primitive life forms or maybe some advanced life forms will be there, because when you see life of sun, still 50% is remaining. Out of that, probably still 20% is a window for life to survive on Earth. And apparently on this planet, I think we are fastly closing down a window where we can revert global warming, global all those changes. Insects are there. Insects have shaped, life systems. Insects have been integral part everywhere, and we are not. I mean, if you remove humans from Earth, everything will be smooth and fine. But insects are not there. Other life forms will vanish along with us. I may not call it as a coexistence at the moment, because we have changed our mindset, just to exploit everything. Okay, so I think I'll stop. If you have any queries, I think we are open to discussions. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Thanks for that, Amol. It was really
yeah,
fascinating. I mean, it's a subject I didn't know much about, so been I'm
yeah.
happy to be educated on this session. So I had a question, which is I remember going on a trip to New Zealand where I was told, and we went into a forest, part of a forest walk,
Mhm.
and we were told, there is not a single creature, not a single creature in New Zealand that can hurt you or harm you. So you can
Yeah,
go into the forest in the dead of night and not have any concern.
yeah.
That is certainly not true if you went a few hundred kilometers to the North Australia, which is just the opposite, right? There's probably one or two things that cannot hurt you or kill you in Australia. What's happening here? Why is there such a large divergence of?
See, New Zealand is isolated from Australia for quite a long time. Okay, same is true with many islands. So what has happened is there's something called as speciation. When a group of individuals are isolated from mainland, they develop their own habits, habitat, and so morphology. So based on that, so New Zealand is one of the biodiversity hotspot. By the way, it has caused those species to evolve on their own. So apparently, there are no many big mammals on the island. I don't think. I think there is no snake in New Zealand, if I'm not wrong.
No,
Um, there might be some insects. There are mosquitoes, and just to give you another side to it, there's a flightless parrot in New Zealand. I don't know whether you've seen it, kakapo.
yes, a couple.
Okay,
Yeah,
so how it has become flightless? Earlier, if you go to there's a parrot in India, there's a parrot in Australia, in this Africa. They all fly hundreds of kilometers. But in New Zealand, this kakapo was isolated for thousands of years, and it understood that it's okay if I can't fly. I can't, as in if I cannot
it
fly,
does
because
not need.
flying is like against gravity. It
Right.
requires different physiology. So if you're getting food, if you're getting safety without flight, I'll not fly. And that is another cause for their decline. Because when you see the settlers started coming in, again boils down to quarantine. They got cats, they got dogs, they got rats, which started damaging kiwi bird. They started damaging this kakapo. Same thing happened with dodo in Mauritius. Okay,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, there's a Taylor sea cow. It's a big sea cow like dugong. It was
Mhm.
discovered somewhere in 1762, and within 30 years it got extinct because it was hunted. And everywhere, there are papers which say that wherever humans went, they cause catastrophe to all the ecosystem. They have altered the ecosystem. They have, mammoth was probably vanished extinct by humans. So, and nobody pays attention to insect. That is,
Yeah.
I mean, no, they are there, but still we don't pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah. So, by the way, there's another interesting comment by Vibha Sima who says, I'm watching this presentation with my twin boys, age 6 years old. They're having an insects project currently going on. They're fascinated to see this presentation. They're doing
Okay.
a small project by visiting EMPRI Bangalore and should be presenting soon. So, EMPRI, I
Okay.
assume, is the Environmental Management Policy Research Institute in Bangalore.
Okay.
Also, another comment from Vibha, which is I had watched a show where one person visited the African tribal habitats in Karnataka who hunt for red ants so they can eat chutney made of it as it has good nutrients.
Yes.
And also, a question actually by her, which is fig anjeer, is it considered non-veg as there is a wasp left in the fruit?
It depends on what you call veg and non-veg. Okay, now this is a quite debatable topic. Like, sorry, I'm not igniting any fight, but sorry, when you cut coriander to put it on garam poha, how it is not cruel than killing a chicken? Because
Yeah,
coriander, you uproot it when it is alive, you put it in fridge, you chop it when it is alive. It is only thing is coriander doesn't shout. There is no
yeah.
blood.
But
Sorry.
is the fig technically the fig juice? Is that, I mean, sorry to be indelicate about it. Is that wasp juice? Is that something that
If
is
it is infested, yes, you can have wasp in that. But if it is protected, it might be pure.
okay? Because
Technically, pig is
I
not a
know
fruit.
from personal experience that Jains don't eat figs for that reason
Yeah,
because they consider that to be a non-veg food.
yes, it can be, of course. See, we get anjir, okay, in the market. Just get that anjir and just observe it. There's a lot of powder on it. We have to wash it because they apply pesticides. Each and every
Okay.
anjir we get, it doesn't have this wasp On the other
It
hand, if
doesn't
you
have.
see
Okay.
this umber, I don't know what you call wild fig variety, which is found everywhere. Just open any of that, you will get fig blossom into it.
So you're saying the figs that you get in the marketplace generally is not
It doesn't have
generally does
parasite.
not have wasps inside.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because the farmer has to earn from it.
It says Zoom user, so I don't know the name, but how many species of insects have gone extinct recently?
Possibly no one knows it because every day few 100,000 square kilometers of forest is cleared. So no one problem with insect is identification. Mosquito, flies, but when you go to forest, you will see variety of insects which are still new to science. So exactly how many species are killed by anthropogenic activities, apparently no one has data. Okay, but I don't know, there might be paper, okay, roughly, because you can quantify that with the healthy forest, but you know uh, just talking about numbers, if you divide insect in each and every human being, uh, each human will get uh, how much? I think 6 times more than its weight. Okay, so that number of insects might be there. No one knows, because if you disturb ant mound, you'll get hundreds of them coming out. Okay, so I'm sorry, I cannot answer about how many got extinct, but they are getting extinct for sure. That is for sure.
Right. Still a lot of appreciation coming in. Thanks for all the info, says Zoom user. Very informative session. Thank you, Dr. Amol, says Sudesh Bhave.
Yeah, welcome, welcome.
So Sabira Fernandez has an interesting question, which is earlier when driving, there were a lot of insects in the windscreen. Now, not a single one. I mean,
Where
is
you
it
are
just
driving
that they're
actually
fewer now, or
no, where you are driving actually in Mumbai or outside Mumbai or in a forest somewhere?
I don't know. I mean, as a general question, is it that we're seeing fewer of them in urban settings than they
I
used to
think I
be earlier?
just in closing remark I talked about uh, that in cities we are altering ecosystem a lot. Outside cities also we are altering system a lot. Insects are quite common along roadside fences, roadside hedges. Okay, I have experienced this. There used to be a lot of insects coming in, on window pane, in your car. But that is another, proof that insects are losing at alarming rate. Okay, what happens is they are genetically quite, I don't know how to put it. They can change their genome. Okay, but the way we are changing ecosystem, they are not able to cope with it. So definitely altering ecosystem by planting exotic plant, one of the major culprit. Then continuous use of pesticide is there. Even if you use organic pesticides, they can cause trouble. Okay, uh, and of course ignorance is there. You just cut down a tree, cut down a which is harming your, of course not related to insect, but in Konkan I went earlier. There used to be big tree of this I forgot. There used to be a white-bellied seagull nesting on it, but the farmer cut down that tree, saying that it gives lot of shade on his crop. So along with the eagle's nest, lot of insects have gone, definitely. Okay,
Hmm.
so I mean it is quite evident.
So, so actually, that brings me to a question that came in my mind, which is, so if you take Mumbai, I mean, as a generic term, so if you look at Bombay's rapid urbanization, right? How has that affected insect populations? And my question is more at a broader level. Uh, are there any variants between insects that have evolved in urban ecologies from those in natural ecologies?
uh, I haven't come across any example in India. As a rule, as a rule, we Indians, we are quite ignorant about biodiversity around us as a rule. Okay, if you talk to people in Konkan, they call hornbill as a garud. Okay, they don't know it is a hornbill. Okay, so anyway, but there's an example in England which happened with industrialization. I think somewhere in Manchester or Birmingham, they found a moth which was darker in cities. It is because of pollution. The moth which was outside cities was same species, which was of natural color. So moth has learned that its surroundings are darker. So let me change my DNA. Let me create more color so that I will save myself. So same thing might be happening in India, but again, it's a different topic. Studying insect in India is not as easy as studying tiger or bird, because a lot of resources are wanting, lot of resources are there, but actually a study has to be done. Okay, like
Yeah.
cities like Malega or Bhiwandi, where a lot of pollution is there, or maybe somewhere near Delhi, someone has to do this study. But again, I'm saying uh, exotic plants won't help us. If insects find that there is no food, they will just migrate outside.
So actually, that is a very interesting segue into the question that Sabira has, which is, does invasive species of plants not native to the area have its effects on insects?
Just a minute, I'll charge my laptop. Yeah, definitely. Just as I told you, they might not have they might not be killing insect. Okay, but it's like there is no food available today,
Okay.
because see, it's like a ecology. Insects and plants, they have evolved like hand in hand. So I would say it is like, suppose if you're a strongly vegetarian, and if you go to northeast, you will find it difficult to survive. Or if you go to Vietnam, okay. So same thing happens with insect. If earlier there was a mango tree, you will see a barren butterfly nearby. But you uprooted mango, you killed mango, saying that it's too big, it is damaging my wall. You killed it, and then you put croton, which is very beautifully colored leaves and flowers, but it doesn't have chemical on which the barren butterfly can feed on, because barren butterfly has not evolved for million years to feed on it, because this plant was not there in its habitat.
Okay.
So it just
So, so I mean, a lot of observations and things from people here. So the Zoom user is Faridun. I guess I'll take this last question from him, and then I have one last question to wrap up things. So Faridun asks, do these urban Miyaki forests and vertical gardens help?
urban what?
Urban Miyaki forests, they have these.
Uh, Again, what is planted in that pots, you have to see. If you're planting, sorry, but I will call it as a nonsense plant. It is just making your wall green. It's of no use.
Okay,
It's not going
that's
to help insect.
okay.
That's
Good
it.
point. Okay, so I have one final question. If we have the national bird of India, national animal. If you had to pick the national insect of India, what would it be?
Not possible. See, there are many states which have decided their state butterfly. Like we have, uh, this blue mormon. Okay, and in COVID we ran a kind of I don't know, a kind of event or a poll or a vote, where we gave example of 5 beautiful butterflies found in India, and asked people to vote which one would you like to be a national butterfly. So there were, I think, 60-70,000 votes were cast, but it doesn't have value unless there's a government stamp on it, and
Okay.
government takes a lot of time to understand, you know, insect.
Yeah. So Sam is just saying that the national butterfly of India, the voting for it just happened. I can't find exactly that question, but let me ask you this. I mean, the question was, I think, given what we know, is there a particular type of home plant or a window plant that you would recommend people start using as a way to promote a healthy insect ecosystem?
I would suggest that you use curry leaf, curry patta. Okay, because
Okay.
that is, of course, you can use it in your preparations, and that also attracts butterflies. So there's a common Mormon butterfly, which is there. It can come to your, this garden as well. I mean, sorry, window as well. Definitely, it will come. Then you can plant this thing, lemon. Okay, that will definitely citrus. The nimbu which we use, that also will attract. Then you can put some flowering plants which will attract butterflies for nectar. Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, what I suggest is just don't alter anything. The ecosystem will take its own, take her own way of
Path.
evolving.
Okay, well, we've run out of time. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That's a very illuminating talk, and
Now, just
appreciate you spending time.
closing,
Please.
if this talk would have been on relocation of cheetah or birds of Mumbai, the number of participants would have shot up to 50, 100. Now we are talking of insect. Number of people who are truly interested in insect will come. So this is how normally happens. But slowly people are gaining interest.
Yes.
So it starts with butterflies. And incidentally, one of my friend has a phobia for butterfly, which is quite, I can't
Interesting.
understand. Anyway,
Well, we'll
so yeah,
be posting this talk on our YouTube channel, so hopefully a
okay.
lot more people will view this going in
Please
future.
share the link so that I can also, share to
Absolutely.
my
Anyway, thank you
contacts.
so much for your time, Dr. Patwardhan. Thanks
Thank
to
you.
everybody else for dialing
Thank you
in,
all and have
and
a nice weekend.
enjoy the weekend. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.